Blog Talk Radio.
This is TJ Morris, and you're listening to ET Radio and Aquarian Radio. We are syndicating tonight with Janet Carol Lessin of Maui, Hawaii. I am your host, Theresa J. Morris, in Gulf Breeze, Florida. That's the panhandle between Mobile, Alabama, and Pensacola, Florida. And I hear a whole bunch of noise. That must be at Janet's house. Dr. Turi, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for having me on your show, TJ.
Okay, I heard a lot of pots and pans rummaging around. That wasn't you or me. That must be Janet. Okay, Dr. Turi is our guest tonight. But Janet Carol Lessin, keeping Sasha out of the kitchen.
No, nobody's home but me.
I wonder what that was.
There's no cats in the kitchen. We were picking up the show, I guess. Anyway, so.
Oh, that must have been. Okay.
Maybe Dr. Turi can tell us who was coming through. Was that a ghost?
Could you hear it? It was a ghost.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of pots and pans. Anyway, that was weird.
Well, Janet, you want to read Dr. Turi's bio for us, or you want me to pull it up on TJ Morris ET Radio, or you want to pull it up on Aquarian Radio?
I got it here. And say,
good.
Anyway, Dr. Turi is just a well-known natural healer. He's a proficient author, captivating speaker. He has profound predictive wisdom that astonishes everyone. Let's see, in 2016, he was visited on 2 occasions by the FBI for his unarguable terrorist attack predictions. And he's got a website, drturi.com, www.drturi.com. And like the great prophet Nostradamus, Dr. Turi was born and raised in Provence, France, and he was influenced by the Seer 16th century Divine Astrology methodology and has spent the last 45 years rekindling the great Seer's rare disciplines and all its spiritual and natural therapeutic values. Anyway, I've got this long bio on aquarianradio.com. I know you put it on a couple of your websites. Oh, let's see. You can go, listeners, and read a lot more about him. But one of the things that's standing out right now as I look at this bio and pictures and everything is he's a 10-year cancer survivor who refused chemotherapy and healed himself and people from all walks of life using Nostradamus' natural blood transfusion. And he speaks and teaches of the cosmic space and celestial tools of the Creator to better one's life and warns the world with undeniable, well-documented predictions. And the dated published printing process makes the proof of his predictions totally unarguable. So we were going to learn a lot from Dr. Turi, delve into some predictions, learn, I guess, how to cure yourself from cancer, all kinds of. Wherever Dr. Turi wants to go, we will tarry with Turi. So, life and death, dream interpretation, super-conscious, karma, UFOs. Specific dates for predictions. That's what I like to see. What are the dates for predictions and the news to come? Okay. Wait. TJ, you have anything more to say? And then you can bring on Dr. Turi. Back to you, TJ.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. We're going to be recognizing all of our members in the ACO Association for people that have worked with us for 7 years online. So we welcome everyone and all our followers and our social media, including Facebook and even LinkedIn and Twitter and Pinterest. And Janet and I both have Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes accounts, and now we each have our own YouTube account, but we have plenty of them out there. But I'm just now to a point where I'm excited to bring people back that we've had over the 7 years and start anew in 2019. So it was only appropriate that on 4/11/2019 we began a new series with episodes, and our first one just happens to be Dr. Turi. And I don't even know his middle name or anything. So, Dr. Turi, if you would, start back in the beginning of how you obtained a container on the planet, and we may go into past lives and soul memories and all of that. And then at the last, we'll try to get into your astrology and your book. So start with you personally, if you don't mind, the first hour, and then we'll get into all the other things you do.
Well, before anything, I wanted to mention that today on George Norrie show, I said to be ready for the beginning or ending of important phases of life, and you just announced a new beginning. And that is, again, a reflection of the prediction that I make. I also mentioned an earthquakes always above 6.0, and we had that 6.1 that took place in Japan today. So thank you for confirming my predictions. As far as I am concerned, I was raised and born in the south of France, in Provence, where the great prophet Nostradamus was born. I have nothing to do with the great prophet, apart from that I was born under the same stars, and that might be why I do what I do. In following 5 direct UFO connection, let's put it this way, because there is also abduction in all my background with extraterrestrial. I felt I was led, pushed to master Nostradamus' Divine Astrology methodology, which has nothing to do with what you call modern astrology. This allowed me to make an accurate prediction. I will prove that to you later on. I already did to a certain extent. And also to be able to use his medical methodology, allow me to pinpoint an area of the part of the human body which is very often leading to death, unless, of course, you do the right thing to avoid and understand what cancer is all about. In my case, of course, I'm a cancer survivor, as mentioned by Janet earlier. 10 years now, God thanks for that. And it was due to me getting out of 10 years of marriage, getting constantly depressed, and opening the door to the nefarious group of extraterrestrials called the Draconis, the Reptilius, which led me to neutralize the atomic structure of my body and invite cancer. So I was able to beat the disease with my universal blood transfusion. I refused the oncologist's strong recommendation to use chemotherapy for good reasons. And there I am, alive and happy, and furthering my mission to bring forth cosmic consciousness to humanity. And again, thank you for people like you, DJ and Janet, to allow me to pass on this very critical wisdom to the world.
Well, thank you, Dr. Turi. That's wonderful. Yeah. So, Janet, would you like to get him started on some new things, or just let him go with wherever he wants to go? I'm not happy about having him here. So, whatever we're supposed to do.
I'm excited you're here, Dr. Turi. So, as usual, you have a lot of things to tell us. What's coming down the line? What predictions? Are they all negative? Is there anything good going to happen? People are really concerned, or politics are very volatile, or Earth is volatile. What do you see?
I tell you what, it's very important to understand that there is 2 forces at work, okay? The positive and the negative forces. That's why there is only 2 groups of extraterrestrials, the good one and the bad one. Doesn't matter how many names you give them, falling angels or guardian angels, doesn't matter. The idea is to understand there is 2 forces at work, good and bad, up and down, black and white, front to back, God, devil, yin and yang, tomorrow, yesterday, male, female. You're symmetrical, you have 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs. So you got to understand that the future is the reincarnation of a thought. That's the first very important message. Secondly, when you elect a president, in reference to President Trump, especially President Trump, because he is the leader of the biggest country in the world. The entire world now is cursed to suffer the idiosyncrasy or the fate of that president, pretty much like the wise German people who elected unwisely Hitler, and you see the result. He killed millions of people. What I'm trying to say is each one of us is born with what you call a UCI, or unique celestial identity. Is a term that I use for my students. So every one of us has a UCI, okay? And President Trump's UCI involves the location of his dragon's tail. And there is more power on the dragon's tail alone, or the hidden dragon, than anything else involving any chart. But modern astrology don't approach the dragon. President Trump was born with the tail of the dragon in the sign of Sagittarius. This sign is regulated by a planet called Jupiter, or the ninth house, and the ninth house of Jupiter rules all affairs involving religion, foreigners, and anything and everything to do with foreigners. So anything that President Trump delegates involving foreigners, foreign land, and religion is a black cross for the rest of the world. And sad enough, my vision is the legacy of our president will be simply devastating in the few months to come. I hope to be wrong, but I've never been wrong. And that is, again, a way for me to prove my claim to you in the future. And you can see already the serious increase in all sorts of racist movement that's taking place, not only in the United States, but all over the world. That confirmed my prediction and my vision, something that I had well before we get today acquainted to Trump's idiosyncrasy, which are endless. What I'm trying to say to you is when I wrote my 2019 Nostradamus Dragon Forecast for personal sign and universal, I saw all that. I saw every single thing that transpired, including all those large corporations going belly up, all those politicians going public, being sued, President Trump shutting down the government, and all the people who suffer because of his decision. Again, it's all the legacy of his dragon's tail. But humanity is not yet ready to understand the power of the dragon and elect people because they have money or because they are a good talker, a good liar, and could adapt. It's not going to be this way in the future, because the future generation will build enough cosmic consciousness to understand the importance to elect somebody who has a good set of stars. As I repeat myself, the nasty legacy of President Trump's racist stars is based upon his past life in Germany as a SS soldier. And that is that's going to vex a lot of people. But hey, this is Dr. Turi. You can only love me or hate me, but you're going to have the underligatures to delegate with.
So that's interesting that he said he was an SS soldier in a past life. Now, did he die, pass during World War II?
Well,
what his name was?
There is no time in space, which means
right.
Depending on your karma, you can go back in First World War, you can go back to in the Mayan time, you can go back in any of the disappeared civilizations that are melting 400 miles under your feet on the Malta. You can go into the future. So I do not want to give too much precision because that's not going to help anybody. Draco, which is the progressive draconis entity I'm channeling, is allowing me objectivity. It doesn't want me to go too much into detail, only when I give specific predictions which are not related to personal information. So he was involved with Hitler, put it this way. And I could go even further. But I don't want to scare the hell out of people and tell you any direct connection with Hitler. I don't want to tell you that, but I know there is. And Draco is not allowing me to pass on more than that information. I'm so sorry. I have my limits as much as I can talk, mostly because, as you know, the 4 FBI agents visited me in 2 occasions because of my prediction. I don't want them to knock at my door again.
Okay, we'll keep them away. Well, I had a client that remembered her past life under Mengele, and she was torturing people in the camps, and then she came back as a young lady in our time, and she tortured herself, and then she finally passed at a young age of 45. So it was quite horrendous for her to go from that incarnation, having been doing heinous, horrible things, to, but people react differently. So some people reject what they did in previous lifetimes, and other people just continue the same pattern because they maybe didn't get the message, they didn't get the lesson. So if that's what we see, that on some level when people do that, not just Trump, but other people, when they come back and they're in the same patterns, they just didn't get it first time around.
They're on the karma wheel, right? The circle of life.
Exactly. It is karma. All I can tell you, to be more precise, is that I start to talk about Trump direct relationship with Hitler back in 2016. And I even use a picture of him and Hitler in reference to his what he was going to do in the future a few years later. And we are moving certainly in that direction. He's going to get much worse before he gets better. Indeed, America will become a much better country once people realize the nasty effect of being a racist.
Well, Janet, why don't we ask Dr. Steve to do you and me? Because he had some good things to say. At least I took some good earlier to me. He just started reading me on the phone. I said, let's save that for the radio. But what do you think, Dr. Turi?
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Turi. Let's do the personal.
Well,
if you want.
Okay. You were born December 26, 51, correct?
Yes, sir. 1203 in Monroe, Louisiana, in Ouachita Parish. That's
all right. Now remember, I do not need all the detail. Nostradamus 500 years ago didn't have the luxury of a watch or a computer. Okay, so it was very objective. Astrology is an art. It is a science, definitely a science, but it's most importantly an art. And unless you use symbolism and the sign, and you understand the cosmic code and cosmic divinity speaking through the sign, you're going to have a problem if you start to focus into the detail. In other words, you're going to miss the entire forest looking at a tree. We don't want this to happen with Divine Astrology. Okay, so you're in the cusp. You're half a Sagittarius and half a Capricorn. Your sun sign is in Capricorn, but you were born in the constellation of Sagittarius. Because the head and the tail of the dragon are currently into the sign of Capricorn, Cancer, you're going to be touched directly. All of those born in January are going to be touched directly. On the positive aspect, the restructure is taking place on the 7th house. For those born in January. The 7th house deals with partners, contract, and marriage, and the people you see every day. Okay. On the negative aspect, some of people born in January will be victimized through the reptilians who use their stars because they're to a certain level aware of what's going on and use my negative windows to induce all sorts of problems. So as a rule, Capricorns have a problem on the respiratory system. So be careful of allergy if you use chemicals because that could lead to some serious health problem and that even could take your life. So you got to be cautious if you're born in January. Now, because you were born in December and you're on the cusp, your soul's purpose is dual. The Sagittarius soul's purpose is to teach the world at large, because your first house is controlled by Jupiter, which is the planet of luck, which is the planet who rules foreigners, foreign affairs. You don't have the tail like President Trump in this sign, and this is an opportunity for you to do very well with foreigners, which are going to be your best teachers, and I'm one of those. Okay, now the Capricorn soul's purpose is for you to build a tower. You're like an engineer. Anything and everything that you got to do is to build that tower and be on the top, and to actually, by climbing to the top of the mountain, which is the goat, obviously, nothing has been given to you because you were born in the winter. There are no fruits on the trees. There is no much sun. It's cold outside. So you will have to work really, really hard. You're not going to be given much opportunities, but your hard work, steadiness, and your will. And the part of God in you, which is very strong, will help you to get to the top of the mountain. You are successful towards midlife and more successful towards the latest parts of your life. That's why it could be a curse to have that Capricorn energy, but at the same time, you've been given a long life to fulfill all your dreams. Okay? Now, that is basically your soul's purpose. Now, you were born with the moon in Scorpio. That give you magnetic eyes. That give you short fuse with stupidity. That can make you direct, honest, and sarcastic when you need to say the truth. And that moon in Scorpio is like being an FBI investigator, but it produces a lot of stress and drama and dramatic experience, sometimes with the mother or on the upbringing, which you must, of course, learn to let go. Your tail of the dragon by birth is in the sign of Virgo. That makes you fussy, picky, critical, detail-oriented, a natural health person. It shows many of your past lives, the Mayan, the Incas, the Sumerian as a medicine woman, a white witch, as I call them. And then you have your head of the dragon in Pisces, which is the visionary. People, very famous people who have this dragon's head, includes Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, Madame Blavatsky, prophets and healers. The idea, of course, is to reach that dragon's head, and that is also a difficult task. But there is so much you can do. As far as this chart is concerned, it represents a very old soul, which has been reincarnated to build a mountain so you can help other people to decipher the truth and understand God's physiology and spirituality and cosmology. So it's pretty interesting to have such a chart.
Oh, thank you. That sounds good.
Wow.
It sounds pretty much like even the hard-headed and the a little stubborn, a little sarcastic. I think Janet could agree with all that. But now, Janet, I don't understand it all, Janet. Because he changed it. You
were impatient with stupidity or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Talking about that.
She doesn't have much patience with stupidity, and she's smart enough to surround herself with people who can support the goal, the agenda, the mission that she has been assigned to accomplish. Pretty much as you.
Yeah.
Janet.
Well, we'll do me next. Let's finish with what questions do you have about what was just said about yourself, TJ? Before we go on to mine.
You described me pretty accurately, but I want to know how, because I'm a reader. You're right, Dr. Turi. I was born as a precog, and I died 3 times, once in the 2nd grade, and I willed myself over to White Sands, New Mexico, and then I died again having my 4th daughter, and now she just passed 2 weeks ago. And when my husband died, I was so empathic that
excuse
I died
me,
with him.
What month your daughter was born?
January 27th, 1974, but she died April 16th, 2019.
Yeah.
And she was beautiful. Yeah. And I miss her. She was a good teacher.
Well, you bet she's in paradise now. But was it anything to do with the respiratory system?
Yes, sir. What it is she was painting on a job and using paints and chemicals in a commercial to do houses. She got overwhelmed, her lungs, while she was painting, and it went into her body, and it stopped her making blood cells, white cells, red cells, and plasma.
Yeah.
They called it benzene poisoning.
Yeah, exactly.
B-E-N-Z-I-N-E, benzene poisoning that killed her. And then it went into full-blown leukemia, even though we got her a bone marrow transplant at Moffitt Cancer Hospital.
Yeah, exactly what I mentioned earlier. For all of those born in January, their weakest part is the respiratory system and allergies and drug and lung infection. In fact, the more medication they give your daughter, the more they accelerate the demise. It's karmic. It's karmic. So sorry to hear all that. Now, there is an important information that I have to mention to you. You have what you call the Grand Trine in Divine Astrology in the water sign. And that means, of course, your moon, your Venus, your head of the dragon, and the planet Uranus, and all in the water sign produce a Grand Trine. This means you are totally and completely under the jurisdictions of the moon. In that respect, born in January, you cannot only use the physical calendar and your rational 5 human senses when you plan. You have to use the moon fluctuations. You have to make sure you use the fishtail of the goat, which means an opportunity for you to swim much faster after the new moon and climb that high mountain much easier. So what I'm going to do, I will send you an invitation for free. I'm going to give you and you too, Janet, if you're interested, I'm going to give you access to a lifetime access for free to the Cosmic Code. I have about 10,000 people in there that follows my daily guidance and prediction. So the fact is, your understanding of the moon passage through the belt of the zodiac every single day, as I describe and write for you every month, will become a major contribution for your success in life. You just have to oblige by the laws that are written by God through the signs, and that's what I do. So I will send you an invitation. Both of you, just don't use your credit card. Just jump in, and Terania, my beautiful wife, will camp you in for free.
Wow.
Thank
you. You need one of our mailing addresses, because in our ACO association, I can put you in as a dedicated strategist as well that helps teams. And our ACO association is global, but the government and the Google are all those people that run us in the Internet. They wanted me to concentrate on the Americas, Canada, North America. But I'd love to put you in there, and then that will help if people want to sign up, and then we will work on that to give it to people in one of our products with books and stuff. But we're just getting all that set up. But thank you very much. Janet was born February 6th. Now, if we can all reciprocate and help each other in our club that we're building today with you, called Anomalous Club Online, and folks will sign that up under ACO Association, but we'll have acoclub.app, app, and a newsletter, and we'll get Dr. Turi to maybe put a little thing in there so you can get to him. And, of course, no charge, because he's going to be part of our association as well. So we'll be doing social networking and media online and radio shows and YouTubes, and all these guys can get to us. But I think, Dr. Turi, can you do anything on why today? Because I tried to do my normal stuff. Nothing would work. And then Janet said, well, somebody canceled, and then all of a sudden you were Facebooking me, and we were able to pull this together. And then they wanted to be called Anomalous. Someone in reality or universe, or the ETs I work with, they made it Anomalous Club Online to go with my ACO association. And I don't know, but that's what I thought, well, we'll just do a series with you, Anomalous Club Online. But I don't know how all that happens. I was not took over.
Again,
before we go to do that, I want to do my thing. But go ahead. What did you want to say, Dr. Turi?
I want to say that I want to say it is absolutely not an accident for me to be part of that show with you girls. Okay, ladies, let's say ladies. Sorry about that. I'm French. So what I'm trying to say is the future being the reincarnation of the thought. We create our reality, and then when you put enough energy into your thought and enough faith, it's like praying, so to speak, and you are able to manipulate the atomic structure of the universe and then lead people to connect. People who vibrate at the same cosmic speed, who have the pretty much the same message for unifying the earth through love and light. There is that energy that comes into play. It's all directed by God. Put it this way.
Wow.
Right.
Well said. I hope you're telling the truth to the universe.
Believe me, I am telling the truth. There is no accident for me to land with you, ladies, today. And this is just the beginning, because today I made a very specific prediction, and you can go and read it from my website. Okay, all my latest YouTube video, I said, be ready for the beginning or the end of important phases of life. In fact, I was on Age of Truth TV, and I gave a date. And a couple of weeks later, I said to the host, I said, be ready for the beginning or ending of important phases of life. The same type of cosmic winds that we have right now in place. And on that day, my dear mother passed away. And
Oh, wow.
David Icke was refused a visa to go and speak in Australia. This means thousands upon thousands of people that are listening to David Icke suffered my predictions because it was the end of an important part of their life. David Icke is not allowed anymore in Australia, and to a certain extent is a good thing. And it could be a good thing.
Did they say why they were denying David able to come in? David, I know David. I haven't interacted with him lately, but about 10, 15 years ago, I sponsored him to come to Hawaii. And
he stayed at your house while I was on the phone.
And he stayed at my house.
David, David and I, we were really, really close friends. We are the product of the Truth Seeker, who was based in San Diego. Truth Seeker produced John Rappaport, David Icke, Jordan Maxwell, and the Truth Seeker the president. She's now gone. She had the power to handle thousands upon thousands of dollars that were left to her by somebody. She was the president, and the person who died made it very clear by saying to her before he died, I want this money to be used only for people who are fighting religion, fighting for the truth. And then they invest on David Icke hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they give me nothing at that time. But hey, that's what it is. But we were very, very close. I used to guide him every single day, wherever he was in the world. He call me, email me, Louis, what's going on this, what's going on that. Him and his wife Pamela, and then we kind of departed because I told him that David, he told me that he was going to write a book about the reptilians. And during those days, in 1995 and 1996, he says to me, I'm going to go to the Isle of Wight. And I said, David, listen, the tail of the dragon is in your subconscious. And he said, I don't care. What does it mean? I said, well, you're not going to be able to distinguish reality from fiction. And then, well, what do you mean by that? I said, you're going to be playing with forces you don't understand. The next thing happened, he saw those reptilians, which he called the reptilians, by the way. But Draco corrected me by saying the real name is reptilius, and then you have the draconis. So anyway, and then he saw those entities, and then because he saw those entities with his own eyes, by dwelling into the superconscious, he was able to enter the archetypal realm of supracosmic consciousness by accident. Either he was tired, either he was smoking pot or drinking wine too much, or being alone for too long in that island when he was writing his book, but he was able to tap on that energy. And that's why he says that the Queen of England or every famous people turn into a lizard. And that's what I said to him, that's wrong. You are leading people the wrong way. That's not what's happening. Those entities can only interact psychically. They don't turn people into lizards, and then we become enemies. And I stopped signing my books and guiding him, and I made a couple predictions since then that came to pass. So we were extraordinarily close. In fact, he had a lecture in Sedona. He arrived too late, and I said to him, it's either you sleep with my girlfriend and I in a 2-bedroom hotel, or you stay in the sofa with your wife in the lobby. So he stayed with me in the hotel room in Sedona. I even took him to my own radio show when he was lecturing in Phoenix, and we were still friends. I was still trying to tell him to stop promoting negativity and illusion. I told him there is just a very thin hair between divine information, divine cosmic information, and pure imagination. I said, you tap on the superconscious by accident. What you saw is very real, but it is not. It's all psychical energy, and you need to make the difference and stop working for the reptilians. When I told him he was infected, of course, he didn't like that, and then we became enemies. I mean, he didn't want to talk to me anymore. I didn't talk to him.
Let me ask you, I got like 50 million questions on what you just said. I want to slow this down. I call it unpacking it. Let's slow this down and unpack it, because that was a lot of information. And, I work with a lot of people that have had extraterrestrial contact, and and you have the positive and the negative and everything in between. And
Yeah.
as a therapist, a psychotherapist, I help them unravel what happened. And sometimes they realize that a lot of it was their own fears, and they were just projecting into it, and then there was realities and what actually happened. And by the end of it, a lot of people are able to look at things more objectively about what happened, including myself. So I have a lifelong, to this TJ, we have been contacted by extraterrestrials and involved in the secret military, and we touched on that a little bit, and then we were going to do that conference. But let me just ask you, who are these people?
Who are those?
Dracos, reptilians. Is there a native one that's indigenous to the earth and it goes in and out of the earth? People like one of those stories. They've got the ones that come from outer space, but they're also apparently originally there were two major forces: the Dracos and the humanoids. So what's your take on this reality?
Well, from what Draco is telling me, again, remember, Draco is an entity that entered my body on June 12, 2012, and you can see the successions of orbs when I have the proof. You need to have the proof. When somebody tells you, I have the proof, I deal with UFOs, well, then you should have a legacy. If you don't have a legacy, or
what is
at
your
least
proof?
My proof is my predictions. My predictions.
Oh, your predictions. Okay.
And they're unarguable, believe me. And you're going to be witnessing that again when I give you the dates later on. And then most of the proof is the sets of orbs when he entered my body. You need to go to drturi.com, scroll down to a powerful message to the world, and you will see Draco on the far right side of myself, slowly but surely coming into my heart, and then to my third eye, and then coming out of my heart, which is me feeding the world with information. It's very important to use critical thinking when you dwell with a phenomenon that is so refined and so subtle. You need to have your feet firmly planted on the ground, because, as I said earlier, there is just a very thin hair between divine information and pure imagination. Now, there are a lot of people that are dealing with extraterrestrials, and you're one of those. Okay, it's at the psychical level, it's physical. This is your own experience. Now, you have to understand also that people can relate to each other because of their experiences, their intelligence, their education, and most of all, their stars. There are people that you're going to be walking next to them. Their magnetism, their chemistry is so negative that you're going to have a fight with them at the psychical level. You won't like this person, and this person will never like you. That is happening all the time. It's psychical between human being, and it's psychical between human being and extraterrestrials. Now, again, we have to go back to the roots. There are only two forces, positive and negative. We understand that. Without a God, there is no devil. Without a woman, there is no man. Without a positive, there is no negative. We understand that. Now, there is only two groups of extraterrestrials and millions of names to classify them. Okay? I only use two terms. The fallen angel to represent the draconians, okay? And or the reptilians. And there is all the names. And then you have the benevolent extraterrestrials. These are the draconies, not to mix with the draconians, which are negative. Now, the negative reptilians, or the draconians, more draconies, important, stimulate scientists to use technology to create technology that end up building nukes or poison gas. Okay? Or guns to kill, to destroy. That's the forces of evil. That's the negative. Then you have the draconis, who stimulate the minds of people and scientists to create a technology that helps your heart or to help your eyes. Or there is a person that was led that was led during the German, during Hitler time. Von Braun, you heard that is
Werner von Braun,
yeah, he developed the V1 and the V2. At the beginning, when he was working for Hitler, he was under the jurisdictions of the nasty reptilians. Then when he became in the United States, he was also under the command and the jurisdiction of the negative reptilians, because that led to develop nukes and to develop missiles and this of nature. At the same time, he was later on, that energy was turned around by the Draconis, which helped us to develop technology to go on the moon, or technology to go and visit Mars. So you need to understand how that energy of yin and yang, positive and negative, you need to understand that life cannot be without our opposites. You cannot have a day without a night, or a God without a devil. You need that polarity in order for life and consciousness to take place. Now, a child of 1 or 2 year old, if you use logic, is negative, because he doesn't have any experience. As he grows up, he gathers more information, he gathers more intelligence, he gathers more positivity, and he gets led by the light, so to speak. So we are all, including myself, every single day bombarded by both the reptilians and the Draconis, positively and negatively. And it's extremely difficult to be positive for a long time. Now, the Draconis have goodies, and so have the reptilians. The reptilians' favorite goodies are drugs, alcohol, legal or illegal drugs, meaning pot and medication. They use technology, like letting the children watch deadly video games. And then, if you see a movie with Zorro, I remember when I was a kid, I was outside, I thought I was Zorro. Tells you how it affects your mind. So it's important to realize that depending on your behavior, let's say you're a young mother and you drink a lot. You're young, you party, you smoke pot, you don't know better. The next thing you know, you go to bed, and next thing you know, you find yourself pregnant. The next thing you know, the child in your fetus has been manipulated by the reptilians. And the reptilians are going to make sure, by manipulating the gene of this child, is going to become autistic, it's going to become Down syndrome, gay or lesbian. The reptilians are working overtime to make sure that there is a serious expansion of gays and lesbians, because they do not reproduce. So the more gays and lesbians there are out there, the more power to the reptilians agenda, because that leads us to extinction in the future. Now, it is, say things that really offend people. Excuse me?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something on that.
Please.
What I noticed, because I'm a relationship counselor, is that they're kind of separate, because a lot of gay and lesbian people still reproduce. They'll have surrogates or donator sperm or egg, or so they are still fathering and mothering, and even biologically.
Exactly.
So
However, the gene is already.
Their orientation might be to have a same-sex partner, but they sometimes it's like they just experiment and they go through things and back and forth, and they might be in reaction to perhaps they were married monogamously and their husband would beat them, so then they have a reaction psychologically, and they end up being again, you can from their center. Yeah.
Right. You are using the 5 limited human sense by rationalizing, and I understand that. Believe me, I have a lot of friends that are gays and lesbian. I love every one of them. In fact, all my friends also smoke pot, and that is their decision. Remember, I am neutral when I teach metaphysics. What I'm trying to tell you is, even though a gay or lesbian person will reproduce the way you just mentioned, they are already infested. Their genes is already infested. So they cannot literally produce a child like in a normal relationship. It's no good trying to protect or or misunderstand me when it comes to your feeling about how I feel about gays and lesbians. Okay? It's not an attack to gays and lesbians. It's just an explanation that science will never be able to come close to. It's a reality of things that society, whether it be the religious society or the scientific society, will never ever be able to assimilate because they are not ready to accept the mind-boggling, far-fetched information that I channel from Draco. This is not a direct attack to those people or their productive ability.
I understand that.
Okay, it's very important.
I'm looking at that. I'm not having personal investment. I'm very objective, and I'm looking at the whole phenomenon. So we have the original God source, the God figure that came down to earth and says, "Go fruitful, and multiply," and then it's like there's no off switch. It's like, okay, we're going on 10 billion. When do we stop? No, just keep being fruitful and multiply. And then when the planet gets overwhelmed because its resources aren't matching, or the distribution of resources, just along everybody, is being hijacked by a certain part of our society to maximize their own profits. So we're not getting a fair distribution of the natural resources, and there's no decision from the average person into how to do it, so they just destroy. To me, that's a reptilian agenda to turn this planet into a pot, and we're all lobsters boiling in it, and we're heating up with the gases and heating up with the toxins, and we never know what day we're going to wake up when that's the point where the air goes and becomes unbreathable for everybody, like in China.
Exactly. All I'm trying to say is that all I'm trying to say is there are gays and lesbians in very high position. Those people are extraordinarily smart. Okay, we are talking about their physiology, their sexual orientation. We are not talking about the pureness, the beauty of the spirit. Okay, there is. If you look at CNN, their top speakers, their top presenters every single day are gays and lesbians. They are extraordinarily smart. Okay, now when I refer to gays and lesbians and genes, now we are talking about the spiritual DNA. We are not talking about a physical DNA which leads to sexuality. This is where you need to understand. Okay, when it comes to the spirit. When it comes to the spirit,
I'm attempting to wrap my head around it. Because there's people that you're saying are genetically oriented, and that's part of the argument. But then there's people, because I've had them on my couch, that they experiment and they go back and forth, and it's not like they settle on one. It's like a climb, and they, in their youth they might be gay, and then when they're old they might be polyamorous for a while. They might be monogamous. So it seems like there's a psychological aspect within the decision.
You need to understand when you dwell with the UFO phenomenon. It's very much psychical. And then sudden enough, we tend to apply the human physiology with it, and then that leads on again to miss the entire pictures. So it's very important to differentiate and understand where I'm coming from here. I have absolutely nothing against gay and lesbian. There are many of my clients and students are gays and lesbian. I love them. They love me, and they understand what I'm trying to say, because it doesn't take them away from the essence of God or the spiritual values or the psychical gift they inherited. We are talking about the physical physiology.
This reptilian energy doesn't want us to multiply, and they're hoping that we'll become extinct because we won't reproduce anymore?
Well, when I say reproduce, on the physiology, if you put two guys together on a remote island, you know what I'm trying to say? You've got to be very objective again, or two lesbians together. It is not natural for them to reproduce. It was set this way. So unless human gets in the game and start to play again with their gene, trying to fix the situation, they are not fixing it, they are making it worse. Because the child physiology will not change. It's all physical. But within the spirit, that beautiful child that come out of that relation, or that body of a gay or lesbian guy, that spirit will be absolutely wonderful. That's untouchable. That's totally untouchable. The essence of God and the creation and consciousness is untouchable and can only grow. It's always light, because you're talking about life. We're not talking about death.
Right.
All right. So we
So
understand each other.
let me ask you about the whole procreative process. So, and I know the Anunnaki were wanting to have a child born of making love and it's kind of like the tantric bringing the soul into the higher realms, which was a different process than a child that might result from rape, right? So
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
something going into the mix that's written about the ancients, and so, yeah, go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, basically, let me put it this way. Maybe you'll understand. It will give you more information on your own repertoire of wisdom. Okay, Janet, listen. You are related to your family, as I said, 150%. You may even look like your mom, your dad, or your children look like you, and so forth. That's the physiology, the physical part of human being. You're 150% connected genetically. Now, on the realm of the spirit, your closer family member will be your biggest stranger. Why? Because your son, your mom, your sister, your dad will never either think, behave, or create or have the same fate than you. And that is the difference. That's what I call the UCI, unique celestial identity. Every one of us is born with that UCI. And that's what gives you all your sins and your virtues on the normal human being. And for those who have been abductees, gays and lesbians, same story. It's on the psychical, spiritual, untouchable realm of love and light and progress. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, let's talk about death. Before you come in this world, when the doctor cut the umbilical cord that connects you with the warm uterine life of your mother, you died. Okay? That you cannot be born unless you die. That's the rules. Okay. Now, a cold of the room, a tap on your butt, or the noise, whatever it is, you send you receive, or you send a first connection to the superconscious, to God, to the universe, to that realm of superconsciousness. And there is another cord which is connected to you, coming from the lumbical, coming from your own umbilical cord. And this is why when you're very afraid or you're scared, you feel the intensity boiling right in the center of your body, because that same electrical umbilical cord, when you die, is cut, dissipate, and you don't want this to disconnect you, because you're going to die. Okay, so when if you're lucky, you live 100 years, and then this cord naturally fades away. You start to forget things. Whatever, you get old, like me, nearly 70 years old. You die.
We get old.
Then you go into what you call the aquasic records, okay, and you join back God, because you have been made in the image of God. You cannot separate yourself from God. You were born to learn to create. That's why the computer in front of you, the car you drive, city like Paris, Los Angeles, Washington, New York, once upon a time, 1,000 years ago, did not exist. We have created our reality all steps of the way. But we are so busy watching TV, the news, fighting with our parents, lovers, friends, you forgot to look at life the way I do. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, when you go back to yourself or to God, how can I explain that in an easier way? Let's imagine that you want to go into a bag. You cannot send your entire body into this bag. So you're going to put your hand, because your hand fits. And each one of the fingers, it's like billions and billions of human beings all in the dark. And you can feel you're too big, you're too smart, you're too good as God to go down this dense physical world to learn. And you're not going to go to hell. This is it. This is hell. Because we are not smart enough to learn by reading books. We have to feel. We have to have the pain, to have the emotions. Okay? So once you take your hand out, you have felt, you have learned something, but you're still you. You're still connected to yourself, to God. So when you die, you're going back to home. You're going back to you. You're going back to God because, as the Bible said, you have been made in the image of God. And the worst thing that you can do is to separate yourself from the power of creation or from God, because that's the real reason why you were born, to learn to control your thought, to create, and to never, ever forget that the future is nothing else than the reincarnations of your thought. Make sense?
Wow, makes sense. I want to give TJ a chance to say something, ask a question, or make a comment. Where are you, TJ? You've disappeared. Are you okay? You still with us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was coughing. I had myself on mute. I'm still a little sick, so I apologize for that. But Dr. Turi understands. He has allergies too, and right now with so much pollen blooming, it's Dr.
Yep.
Dr. Turi, can you expound on why these allergies affects? I'm a precog, and I know that I was born and I have many past lives, and I really want to get into helping people with their soul groups and their past lives and finding that. And Janet and I do our best to help people. I know you're very excellent at that, but I have to admit there's a lot I don't understand. But like you said, you're bringing me into your fold. And then with our new Anomalous Club online with Dr. Turi, we'll build a whole new network of people that really don't understand the type of astrology you use, or maybe the old astrology. But in the meantime, I am having a little trouble breathing, so I'm going to mute me. But thank you, Janet, for including me back in. But just if you could expound, excuse me, I'm going to cough. I'm going to mute.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
we'll keep talking because she's having problems. Yeah,
yes, she definitely has problems. You bring with you the karmic legacy of the trauma you had in the past life. In fact, I was talking to another radio host, and when she gave me a date of birth, I told her, "Do you have any neck problem?" And she goes, "Oh my gosh, how do you know?" Not only she had neck problem, but she had also serious thyroid problem. And I explained to her that during her past life, she was hanged. Okay, and then anytime she said somebody get close to her neck, she freaks out. There's no reason. And she said, I've been this way since I was born. It's pretty much.
I broke my neck, Dr.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now you're confirming my prediction. Let me tell you a little story so maybe you'll understand me better. When I was a child, I had this recurring dream, non-stop. This dream was always the same. I'm laying down on my back. I'm laying down on a rock type of table in a cave. I can look behind me. I see the high mountain with a lot of snow and see eagles flying. So it must be pretty high. I can hear the wind and it's freezing cold. I'm high in the mountain. Around me is my family and my friends. They're all dressed in white robes. Pink robe and white, whatever. That's what I can recall. The next thing I know, 3 Chinese soldiers come into the cave, and they take their long sword and they plunged it into my body, and I died. Now, if I am cutting a snake, I make sure that this knife is facing away from me. I have a natural fear of knife. That is due to that recurrent dream being killed. And then later on, as I grew up, I realized, and I read a little bit of his story, that the Chinese invaded Tibet, and they killed all the monks, and they killed all the lamas. And that dictates where I was in my very, very last life, back in Tibet, in the mountain, as one of the top spiritual leaders. Do you understand?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
This is how the super-conscious speaks to people. People are not clinical hypnotherapists. They haven't been, really educated in understanding the mechanics involving the super-conscious, and then translating dreams is not something that they do on a regular basis. Okay.
Yeah, I had a similar thing. I had a recurrent dream where I kept, I was running from, I call it the storming of the Bastille, and I was a male and I was a sword fencer, sword fighter, and I was very wiry and petite, but a male, And anyway, I ran into this building which I call the Bastille, and I tried to find pictures of the Bastille, but apparently it's no longer here, so there's some ancient drawings of it. And I fell to my death, and so I had the same thing. I kept waking up, but before I hit the ground, and I had to stream over and over and over and over.
There you go. There you go. I mean,
and then I finally met the characters in the play. I met and I met Nemesis. I call it Nemesis, the one that was, chasing me, and then the one I tried to escape from, and I ended up, dying rather than being captured. So there's these things.
See, as a child, as a child, you're so close to your previous lives. There is the filter is very thin. It's like this lady. She says she heard me on George Norrie, and she wrote me a long email which I share with my people on my newsletter. You can read it. This lady, she says that until the age of 9 years old, every single night she had the same dreams, and she was surrounded by snakes. I explained to her that during her past, when I look at a chart, of course, she has a strong Scorpio in that chart. She gave me a date of birth, which I did not publicize. But what I'm trying to say is I explained to her that during her past life, either with the Mayan, the Incas, or the Sumerian, some religious lunatic wanted to appease the spirit, not being cosmic conscious. These people used to perform a lot of, they used to kill a lot of people. And in offering human bodies was something that was normal. So they dig a big hole, they fill it up with snakes, and they throw her down there. And this is how she died. And then you wonder why she has, until the age of 9 years old, this recurrent dream full of surrounded with snakes all over her body. And then screaming and waking up with all these snakes around her. She was offered to the god because of the ridiculous, idiotic, priests during those days who, used to kill people just to satisfy the gods. They didn't know better.
Right.
That's just what it was. Maybe because they wanted to have more rain. So sacrifice was a normal thing.
So I want to shift gears.
Please.
We started with we did TJ's. Can you do my story? Who you see I am, February 6th, 1954.
Okay, so
that's all you need, right?
It's important to remember that for the lack of words, I call myself a psychic when I am actually a soul doctor. And I use also a software, not the same type of software that modern astrology used. I did ask Aquarian Software in Los Angeles to produce this type of mathematics, knowing that Nostradamus didn't have a watch. How could I do a chart like Nostradamus used to do 500 years ago? So with my guidance, they build that software. Okay, so I'm using a software. So I just entered your date of birth, February 6, 1954. Okay, and then right in front of me, I have your UCI. Now, like me, you were born an Aquarius. Okay, the difference is that your sun sign is in Aquarius when I am on the cusp. I was born February 26, so I'm an Aquarius, Pisces. I'm half Aquarius, half Pisces, while you are the true Aquarius. Okay. Now, what is the soul's purpose of somebody born in February? Again, you have to use the signs. You have to look at the sign of Aquarius. And what it is, it's a man with a jar, and there is water pouring out of the jar. Correct?
Right.
Now, let's go further now. This sign, Aquarius, is controlled by a planet called Uranus. This planet rules anything and everything that dwell with the future of humanity. Technology, UFOs, astrology, weird people, the geniuses. He rules anything to do with humanitarianism, and he controls Japan. Okay, this planet is also the sudden release of energy that produces earthquakes, tornado, volcano, and you wonder why Japan has so much earthquake and tsunami, and then why once upon a time we used to say anything from Japan is worth nothing when actually they are geniuses. So do you understand You understand your ruler? Okay, now, your soul's purpose as an Aquarius now is to go and dig into the face and the tools of God, is to learn all about the secret of the cosmic code. Once you have understood, like I did, the mechanics, the universal mechanics on a practical level, on the scientific level, because this sign, Aquarius, rules NASA. This sign rules science. Okay? Once you understand the essence of the cosmos, which is controlled by Aquarius and the planet Uranus, then all this knowledge is crystallized into that jar, and the water pouring out of the jar is you and me using technology to serve a very thirsty world, informing them and giving them critical cosmic information. And that includes, of course, extraterrestrials, because Aquarius and Uranus rules the UFO phenomenon. This is why extraterrestrials cannot come down this dense physical world when they feel like. They have to use the Uranic energy or specific windows, because extraterrestrials are not immortal and they're accident prone. The proof of that is that flying saucer that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. You got me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that is your essence. That is your soul's purpose. And obviously, you're doing it. Right?
And that's what I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, let's look at on the other important area of your chart. You have your moon in Pisces and your Mercury in Pisces. Okay? Now, again, there is two fishes. You have one that swims upstream towards God's feet, the universe, towards the Aquarius enlightenment, and then you have the negative fish that swims downstream. You follow me?
Right. And
okay,
I had a chart done and it said my moon was in Aries, so you're saying it's in...
Remember, I don't have the same chart, honey. I don't use the same mathematics, put it this way. All I'm trying to tell you, and you're the only one who's going to judge, not me. Me, I'm telling you what I read through your UCI or your unique celestial identity. Now, the positive fish, first of all, Pisces is controlled by a planet called Neptune, which is the lord of deception, illusion, if you swim downstream. And of course, this is why the Christians have subconsciously chosen the sign of Pisces to represent their religion. And Pisces rules the Middle East. And that's why the youngest, deadliest, most destructive religions were born in the Middle East. You're talking about Christianity, you're talking about Muslims, and Judaism. The three of them were born in the Middle East, which is a Pisces Neptunian area. And then if you're a fish and you're like in your own world, there is no way you're going to be able to relate with the rest of the world. This is why it's very difficult for people in the Middle East to relate to America, our freedom, the way we think, the way we do things. They are in their own tank, on their own world. Okay, now, the negative fish follows the current. Current meaning, of course, 875 different religions that were created by the reptilians, because religions create chaos, confusion, war, and ISIS caliphate. Do you follow me still?
What's ISIS caliphate?
This ISIS is a group of terrorists who wants to kill to only promote their religion. Sorry. Okay. So that's the negative fish. Yeah. Okay. Now, the positive fish has created Einstein, Michelangelo, George Washington, and Dr. Turi. So you still have a lot of good energy in the Pisces, okay? Now, imagine a salmon, and why having the moon in Pisces can be very difficult. Because there you're in a river. Okay, the current's not going to stop for you. You're going to go down that current because it's easy to follow the current than to go against the current. Not only this, you have also falls. Okay, imagine a salmon. Okay, from the ocean, which is the big soup and hell where we are here on this dense physical world, you got to swim back to your birthplace or God. Okay, and then you got to go against the current nonstop, 24/7. It's very, very hard to have a Pisces energy in your chart. Okay, so having the moon and Mercury in Pisces, your imagination is extraordinary. Your intuition is infallible. Being a Pisces, your intuition is also very, very, very strong. This is a very artistic side: music, acting, dancing. And as Pisces rules also the subconscious, there is psychic abilities, there is spirituality. If you swim upstream, the world of Neptune has only goodies to give you. If you swim downstream, imagination, addiction, religion, not being able to decipher reality from illusion. You got to be cautious wherever Pisces is located or Neptune is located in your chart. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, because you have a grand trine in the water sign, you better watch that moon. It's faster if you swim when the tide is coming up. You know the moons create the tide twice a day, yes?
Yes,
When the moon is waxing, from the new moon to the full moon, this is where God will allow you to make significant progress. So I got a question for you. Do you know if the moon is waxing or waning right now?
No, I haven't paid attention.
There you go. And that is, like we say in French, it's a sacrilege. You cannot put your nose outside not knowing if the moon is waxing or in what sign of the zodiac she is when she cruised the belt of the zodiac. Remember, all these appear civilization did not build a pyramid or their monument in their building where they feel like. It's always aligned with a constellation. You have forgotten that knowledge.
Right.
Is very, very important. That's why I invited you to the Cosmic Code, so you can realign your vibration to the old soul. Now, you were born with the tail of the dragon in Cancer, okay? So don't eat when you're upset, okay? Because that's weakness on the stomach, and be careful your knees and your joints, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Now, the tail of the dragon in Cancer means also maybe some difficulties involving your upbringing, because Cancer is home and family. Mom and dad might have some problem there, or losing people at early age, God knows what. Okay, let's move on from that tail. Just watch the moon, and you'll be just fine. Don't eat when you're upset, because food turns into poison, and that can make you sick. Okay. All right. Now, your head of the dragon is right in your 12th house, and it is in the sign of Capricorn. It's funny because your head of the dragon is right on TJ's sun sign, and that is a beautiful. Pretty much like your moon is conjuncting my sun sign, so to speak. So that dictates why our cosmic fluid, our cosmic winds, our cosmic energy is similar, and why we attract each other, because we have a common goal, and that is to build a huge tower that will make our names and our legacy for the future generation very worthwhile.
So good.
As the dragon said in Capricorn, remember Capricorn rules politics. Capricorn rules also classical music, old age. Capricorn rules the skeletons, the joints, and that's why you could put stress if you're overweight. You got to be cautious not to put stress on your joints. There is so much. And then your Saturn is right dignified in your 10th house of career, right in the sign of Scorpio. So you were born an investigator. You were born an FBI agent. You were born pretty much like a soul doctor. Okay? And then with Saturn in Scorpio, you could also have a fear of power, fear of the government. So you got to be cautious not to fall for conspiracy talking head telling you you're going to end up in concentration camps because of the government.
Was that Janet or me or both of us? I got lost.
Yeah, TJ says we're going to end up in the camp, but no, I don't think so.
I don't like to talk politics. I like to just be above all that, personally.
And that's the idea, because politics, like religion, stinks. You can never win. And you're going to lose a lot of friends if you start to impose your political values or religious values. Just go with it, be smart, because, you lose a friend, you lose a wish. That's the way it is. If anytime you lose a friend, it's just a given. You have lost a wish. It's important not to mess up any friends that you have. That's another rule, metaphysical rule. Lose a friend, lose a wish. Make sense again?
Yes.
Now, you have what you call, Janet, you have what you call a mutual receptions of your dragon. Okay. This means Oh, by the way, my sun sign in Pisces is conjuncting the head and the tail of the dragon, or TJ, which is really good. So having a mutual reception of your dragon means that you have a complete restructure imposed upon you for the next few months to come. That imposes your work, your service to the world, your health, and all the assimilation involving your subconscious. With the head of the dragon in your subconscious, you have a restructure of a very, very intangible area of your chart, which is the subconscious. And I'm all about talking about the subconscious. So the most important thing that you have to remember is to control your imagination, not to feed the reptilians with fears, and to never, ever forget that the future is the reincarnation of your thought, because as a goddess on this dense physical world, you are training yourself to, once you go back, to create new sources of life. So you are immortal. Okay, you just a span of life with the time of burning of matches. That's what's going to be your life on Earth, like any one of us. Okay, but you got much more ahead of you, and the next few months are going to be pretty interesting as far as progress is concerned. It's all on the spiritual and the physical level in your case.
Interesting. Well, thank you.
Well, you're surely welcome.
I wonder if we can shift now. You can do the chart of the country and the chart of the planet, right? You can look at the picture from all the levels, right?
Yeah, well, what's
going to happen to the United States?
Okay, but America was born July 4th, 1776. America is a Cancer country. America is a big stomach, and that's why everybody wants to come here, because America represents security. For any foreigners, America is perceived as a beautiful home with a nice fireplace and a lot of food on the table. Thanksgiving. Make sense? That's what America looks like to the eye of foreigners. Now, this being a Cancer, America was born with the head of the dragon, which is a very powerful, positive energy, and I wrote a 600-page book on the power of the dragon. Okay, this head of the dragon is on the second house of money of the United States in the sign of Leo. So by God, this great country was supposed to be the leader of this world. Exactly what Mr. Trump is not doing, and what President Obama was doing. Okay, what I'm trying to say here. The information I'm offering you are far from being political. They are coming from the spiritual realm of supra-cosmic consciousness. So it is very, very, very important to understand, not to take my work as a political guidance. I don't care if you support Trump. I don't care if you don't like Trump, or if you don't like me either. Okay? I'm here to do a job, and that is to further your cosmic consciousness, to reintroduce God, cosmic divinity, because what people do not know is that Jesus' initial ministry was cosmic. Cosmic meaning that Jesus wanted to introduce humanity to our Father in the heavens. And that's why he had 12 apostles that represent the 12 hours of the day, the 12 months of the year, the 12 saints, the 12 jury, the 12 apostles, the 12 tribe of Israel, the 12 notes of music. And all those informations are buried into the 75 miles of secret library under the Vatican. They've stolen from you, stolen from your children, and my mission is to bring it back. Bring back astrology where it used to be accepted as a solid discipline in all our college universities, because that will stop. That will stop the nightmare, all the children degenerating and killing themselves non-stop. What? Excuse me. What? What?
No, in here, Louis. My car's been stolen.
No, it's in the back. Oh. My wife is all freaking out. My car's been stolen. No, I just put it in the on the other side of the house because there is some work to do.
She's so cute. Well, the other day I had an astrologist woman, and she was going. Of course, it's like interesting. It would be interesting to have the two of you, because she was your polar opposite. But she was doing the charts of the candidates and who would be the best, who's going to be the most successful, who's going to win. I don't know if you're able to do anything like that. Yeah.
Okay. Now, now you are asking me like there is a big ball game going on, okay? And there is like 20 or 30 people on that ball game, and who is going to win? Okay, first of all, you're not supposed to use astrology for personal gain, okay? Or and even though that means I would have to draw dozens and dozens of charts. I would have to look
right.
at every one of
He
these.
said the same thing.
No,
He said the same thing.
And again, my work is not politically oriented. I just do not feel it's right for me to spend the time and the effort to tell you who's going to be the next president. All I can tell you is that Trump is a dual. A dual means he's a Gemini, okay? He's got two faces, okay? And he cannot have only one hotel or one golf course or one deal, okay? He's a dual. A dual means everything in his life will be 2, 4, 6, and 8. That's why he has so many legal suits, so many affairs, so many corporations, so many of these, so many lies, so many of everything. He's a Gemini, ruled and controlled by Mercury, which cannot be trusted. He's dual. Anytime you deal with duality, you cannot trust. It's just the way it is. Go to drturi.com, click on Gemini, and read his soul's purpose. Now, at the same time, he was born with the
I'm
tail
the child.
of
I'm a recovering Gemini child. I'm recovering the daughter of a Gemini mother. I'm recovering.
So you can relate to me.
Gemini parents. Yeah, so good.
But it's their gift. I mean, there's nothing wrong. It's just their gift to be dual, to be able to adapt, to have two faces, to jump from one subject to the other, to repeat themselves and endlessly. And then all these scientists and all these, what you call experts, neuroscientists, psychiatrists, psychologists, trying to uncover our president's idiosyncrasy, they are unable to do it because they don't use forensic astrology. Forensic astrology is real. You can Google Dr. Turi, President Trump, and you can read all about our president. I already have done his chart when I knew he was going to be a nightmare for the United States and for the world. I did that, but he was elected. And it actually was led by the reptilians, which is completely infected mentally and physically. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, so he's not using the goodies that other people usually use, but he's infected with greed. Greed meaning he cannot have enough of power and enough of money. Okay? I mean, if I was a millionaire, believe me, I would not run for the president, being the president of the United States. I go fishing out there and have fun for the rest of my life because I don't have that greed, that need for power, that need for control. He has.
So is there a way out of this mess? The time that we've gotten into. Is there a way out of it?
It is karmic. America has to learn something when it comes to racism, when it comes to particularly to racism and foreigners. America is going to be the greatest country in the world because it has always been the greatest country in the world. But America, like any human being, has weaknesses. America is represented by its population. Its population is led by Trump. I mean, let me explain something. Maybe you don't understand a little bit more about his legacy upon the world.
Okay.
If, let's say, a father of a large family is a religious fanatic, is a Mormon, is a witness of Jehovah, or is an atheist, or John Scientology, or he smokes pot for that matter, the rest of the family will be led by that president. Is the president of his family. So anybody that is under the jurisdiction of the father or the most important figure, okay, in that case, the father of this small family, or Trump, the father of the United States, okay, his power, the more he is big, the more he has people, the more he has children, the more his idiosyncrasy will have to be felt because he has the power. He is in control. So knowing that his tail is infected and knowing that his tail is running him, the reptilians put him in power. But you need to go back before that. Why? Why did the Russian use technology? Because the previous president, which is Obama, was born with the tail of the dragon in Aquarius. And that means he's not lucky with technology. So it was an invitation for the Russian. Now, President Putin has the head of the dragon, the luck, the growth, the opportunity in the sign of Aquarius. So anytime he dwells with technology, he is lucky. His head is in there. And because Obama had the tail, he brought already the infestation before Trump was elected. Okay, now we can go a little bit further about America, because America has the head of the dragon in Leo and in the second house of money, making this country very wealthy. But the tail is in Aquarius. Aquarius rules the sudden release of energy. Okay, so I knew about a lot of things when I check on the United States chart. This country is prone to suffer sudden release of energy, as experienced, of course, with Pearl Harbor, the sudden attack in Pearl Harbor, and the 9/11, both sudden attack on those twin towers. America is seriously prone to suffer a nuclear exchange. I don't want to talk about that.
So you think we're going to have a nuclear exchange? A lot of people are predicting it, but is that set in stone, or is that something we can avert?
Well, the difference between me and all those other predictors is that I offer proof. Those predictors are just words. I put the green where my mouth is, okay? And I will prove that to you later. The good news about Dr. Turi is that I'm not only one in you of what could happen to the United States, okay, which is written in light in the stars, but how to avoid it. Do not support, endorse, or believe any of these talking heads that's saying that America is going to end up in a nuclear exchange and we're going to be dead. That is feeding the reptilians who cannot survive without your fears, without chaos. Remember the dark force. Always remember when you talk, when you do something. Am I pushing the light or am I pushing the evil? It's a choice. It starts with you.
Great.
You need to battle the reptilians at their own psychical game. They amuse us with religion, with sports, with debauchery and sex, with politics, so that you're so focused into the humans' affairs that you forget about them. They don't want you to think about them. Okay? They use drugs.
Right.
They will use anything and everything to make sure you're negative. It's very important. It's critical to be part of the solution. And listening to me, be positive. Do not give in to the political lunatic, to the fear, the high possibility of America ending up in nuclear exchange is very real. Doesn't have to happen. Remember what I said earlier? We create our reality with the thought.
When I was very young, I went on board a craft, and they showed me 24 potentialities. And so for me, it's just like going down a superhighway. Which direction you want to go? Same thing. You're always the chooser. We're the choosers. So if I want to go into nuclear holocaust, enjoy yourself, because you're going to resist whether you're here or there. But it's like that's our choice, and I don't go there. I'm just I'm like a scientist, an investigator, right? And I'm going, wasn't it interesting that all these time travelers and things that people are predicting certain things, right? It's like they want to direct us into this agenda. It becomes an agenda, and it's like, so what is behind that to steer us into that reality, into that timeline, that multiverse?
Exactly. And
so I look at that way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is why, Janet, I have that problem with David Icke, because he has reached a pretty high level of notoriety, and he's constantly talking about negativity, and he all he wants, when you look at it, knowing his chart is an Aries, okay? He was born 2 or 3 days before or after Hitler, and all he has is subconscious fear of power, a subconscious fear of government, and he's passing on his own fears to the people he magnetized into his own matrix, okay? And he doesn't know. The people listening to him do not know. So that's why I told him many times, stop, find a way, give something, give a way out. Don't just say this and this and that, and then let the ball roll wherever you put them. Don't put your dropping like this upon humanity. It's important that you become more realize what you're doing out there, especially when you have such a large audience. You got to be responsible.
Well, I think some of these
honorable.
people they get invested in the reality they've created because they have followers now, and if they divert from the reality, they undermine their own financial base.
Exactly.
So I kind of had that conversation with them. It's like, well, David, if you go down this road, and you're going to eventually be out of business, right? So you have to switch it.
No, you got it.
About the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
All he wants is maintain his popularity and go to the bank. He's a millionaire. He's a millionaire. So all he wants
is
the
other girl.
He cannot
Linda
go.
Moulton Howe.
It's the same story when Linda is talking about the moon being hollow. Oh my God, she has absolutely no idea where the moon comes from. Let me tell you where the moon comes from. Okay, that's Draco Shanley now. The moon was hired from one of the many moons around Jupiter. When the extraterrestrials, the Draconis, built this solar system, they needed various planets that would support life. So using, for the lack of words, a nuclear device directed from their spaceship, they move the moon away from Jupiter extraordinarily gravitational forces and led the moon towards the Earth. Okay, that's why the moon is loaded with crater. Okay, sorry about my dog. That's why the moon is loaded with crater, and the Earth, which is next door, doesn't have any crater. Now, the moon is not a UFO base, and it's not hollow because the moon needs enough mass in order to orbit around the Earth. You want to be a scientist? Well, let me be a scientist now and use logic, okay? But these people have built up their mountains on lies and ignorance, and they never, would it be David Icke or Linda, they never saw a UFO. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's terrible.
And I'm going to be, the three of us have.
And I'm going to be on the ship with her. Linda, and I started on Hardbell when I made my first prediction in 1995 to be ready for a religious war. Hold on a sec, please. I'm going to lock my door. Just give me a second.
Sure.
It's not my dog.
No, it's not your dog this time.
This is live.
This is Carly, her dog.
This is live. Okay.
We're live.
Okay, so you're going to be on that cruise. And,
yeah, I'm going to be on that cruise with her.
Different people.
Linda, is Linda going on there? Is Linda Moulton Howe going to be on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm trying to say
Let's talk about that a little bit before you get off the air. But go ahead, Dr.
Yeah.
When I was
your story.
When I was on Art Bell in 1995, well before she even get close to coast to coast, I have people working in my house. That's why my dog is barking. So what I'm trying to tell you is, when I was on Art Bell, I made my first prediction. I said, "Be ready for a religious war." And Art Bell just screamed his head off. He says, "What? A religious war?" And that was well before Osama bin Laden, 9/11, and ISIS. Okay, and actually the radio show is still on YouTube. You just Google Dr. Turi Art Bell, and you'll be able to listen to that show, and you're gonna hear him screaming about my predictions. Okay, now Linda, I have been a steady guest on Coast to Coast for years. Linda has heard my UFOs experience. She has seen me in many conferences, and she has never ever approached me to investigate me. That tells you that our cosmic energy is very, very different. That tells you, and that tells me, and everybody else listening, that our personality, our chemistry is very different, because she's coming from the darkness, the ignorance, the imagination, and the guilt of and she would never ever have me to talk about the difference in the reality.
Now, David Icke and Linda Moulton Howe are millionaires, right? And you're not. Yeah. I'm not.
I'm not. No.
Okay, I am going to put my little dog in the bedroom. Hold on a sec, it's making too much noise. So you guys keep talking.
Okay. We'll keep talking. No,
we'll have the last 30 minutes. Last 30 minutes for dog lovers, and we understand. I have dogs. Janet has cats. I'm a dog lover, but I like cats too. So.
My dog used to do that exactly. When I had a dog, that's what she would do. She would go off, and it's like, why are you going off in the middle of this conversation? So,
well, isn't
anyway.
that interesting? 4/11/2019, and everything strange happened, but he suggests it's not a coincidence that he's
right.
on
Now,
today. So that's interesting.
Okay.
4/11/2019.
Go ahead, Dr. Turi.
I am back. I'm
Finish
so
your
sorry.
story, Dr. Turi. That's okay.
Yeah, I
Go
want
ahead.
to talk
Finish
about
your story.
the anomalous club we have and what we're doing together.
Yep.
But go ahead.
Okay,
Finish your story.
So basically, you could see that a magnet will never attract a piece of wood. I represent the truth, my truth. Then every road leads to Rome. Understand that. I don't have the truth. I have a part of the truth. And so is TJ, Janet, and every single person, truth seeker, doing his own job out there. Okay, but my truth is my truth, and it's real, and it's well-founded, and it's real. Okay, as far as some of these UFO talking head speakers, I'm talking about David Icke and Linda, I do not think they are giving a real favor to humanity by using imagination instead of reality, by saying the moon is hollow, is a UFO base. They are just totally out of order, and that is against my rules. You got to be real. If not, don't even put your nose in the business. All right. Now, that is being said, I'm going to be on that ship, and I'm going to prove to everybody the reality of Draco on that ship. I am going to have everybody in that big, huge ballroom. I'm going to have a nice little music. I'm going to turn the light off, and I'm going to hypnotize everybody. And I'm going to let Draco guide my words and guide me to help all these people to heal themselves or to have their craziest dreams becoming a reality. And that is the ultimate proof I am going to have to offer on that ship when I go there next October. It's serious.
Yeah. So you're going to have like a guided experience. And so do you know how this will unfold, or is kind of you have a container and it just happens within the parameters of your experience? We do experiential too.
Yeah.
It's kind of where they go and what you get from it.
I am going.
This Draco fellow that came in to you, and I saw the picture, and that's the one on your site. And let me get to it again. Make sure I have the right one, because I'm going to grab it for your page. So this is the one where you've got an orb in your, like around your heart chakra, and you've got your hands up.
No, honey. You need to click. You need to click a message to the world. Then you're going to see that orb coming.
Oh, okay. Let me.
That's the last
picture. That. Okay.
Yeah, that's the last one. That's the one that is finally coming out of my heart, which is my message going to the world. You have to see Draco coming in. And remember, it took place on June 12, 2012, during a solar eclipse. So he chose the.
So this was this orb coming in. I've got the series. And so was this orb coming in because you were invoking it? Or what was going on?
It was, what happened is my wife wanted to take some pictures of the solar eclipse. And I said, well, you know what? You're not supposed to do that because that's going to burn your retina or whatever it is. So we went outside, and then for some reason, she started to get the camera and click. And I lifted my arm and said, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't waste pictures. And then that was it. I didn't know. I felt a bit weird, you know. Why? And I thought, why would she do that? Okay. And the next thing you know, when we look at the pictures, we saw that orb. And that's where I realized that Draco was coming in. And then it led me to make predictions, which I'm going to be doing. I'm going to give you some dates.
We got to do that. Yeah, we've got a couple minutes. So how do you know who this Draco is? And that's the name, Draco?
His name is Draco. He's from the constellation of Draco. He is part of the benevolent Draconis, which are the gardeners of this world. They are the one that stimulate humans to create beautiful things, to create technology that help heal the human body. They are the guardian angels, as I said. They are totally opposite. They are the forces of the light. And then you have the reptilians, or what you call the reptilians, which was a name created by someone out there in time, which are doing the opposite and stimulating the darkness. And from that's basically what it is. It's all about the yin and yang. It's all about the good and the bad. Okay, so what Christianity or religion theologically refer as the devil or Satan or fallen angel is nothing else than the reptilians. And they have indeed infected every single religious leader. Every single religious leader out there is infected because he's a leader of a religion that is going to be completely opposite of, geographically, of course, than the one you were born with. And that is the chaos that was stimulated and planted and designed by the reptilians, including the various languages that are also making communication much more difficult. Astrology speaks a universal language, which means you can be black, yellow, or green. You can be any age. Astrology kind of bring you back to the unit. You have a set of stars, you have a rising, you have a dragon. So your universal cosmic identity is reuniting us, is complementing us. That's the age of Aquarius in all its beauty. While religion separates, astrology just bring back together. You have a set of stars exactly different, but it's connecting you to everybody else, because we all the children of this world are under the jurisdiction of all the stars, ultimately controlled by God himself. And God has enslaved every one of us to learn about it.
We're getting short on time, but I want to give you time for your predictions, and then TJ wanted to wrap it up with talking about the club. So let's do some predictions.
All you got to do is to get a pen and write down April 20th. Okay, that's about 10 days from now. I don't want to go too far. And April 27. I'm going to give you only 2 dates. The same dates that I gave on many of my radio shows, including George Norrie. April 20th, the keywords. I use keywords and I use quatrain. Again, if you go to drturi.com, you can click on my blog and you can see the type of quatrain I use to describe the beginning or the end of that energy that made us together today. Okay, so I'll explain in that newsletter. So April 20th, the keyword is death and drama. This is going to be a Plutonic window, a Scorpionic window, which means anything about life and death. The police, the FBI, secret, Russia. Russia is a Scorpio country. That's why Russia died and Russia is born again. Scorpio is the princess, is the process of life and death and reincarnating. That's why Russia is dead and born, the USSR. Okay, so that means maybe a crazy person will kill a lot of people because the reptilians love. They really use that energy, the same type of energy that was used to kill the people on Las Vegas. All this dramatic news when people kill each other, when the police kill innocent people or the people kill the police. Things under the blanket comes out to light. This is a wake-up call time, and it's a deadly time. So be careful what you do, what you say on those days. And 48 hours before and after the 20th, that window, the specific window will be activated, okay? And because anything you do or say during this day will follow you for the rest of your life. If you do the wrong thing, the reptilians are going to use that energy, and they're going to kill you. And they don't care about you, if you're male, female, or if you're a kid. Be careful. All the explanations are offered in my website. Now, the next one is April 27. Now, this is more of the keywords are shocking news, okay? News from the cosmos, technology, maybe an airplane will fall down, An airplane is nothing else than a flying computer. Earthquake for sure at 6 or above always. That could trigger a tsunami, a volcano, a tornado, God knows what. The key word is surprise, shocking you, or sudden release of energy. So if you want to see UFOs, this is not a time for you to go out there, because the reptilians are going to use that window to come down here and stimulate all sorts of natural disaster. So if you catch them or if you attract them, they're going to be definitely the reptilians. You have to use another window if you want to go and see extraterrestrials. People are taking a lot of chance, not being cosmic conscious, to go in the middle of the desert with a camera. Okay, so you got to be cautious. You have to have a specific knowledge so that you do not attract the darkness or the reptilians, but instead the draconis. And believe me, the difference is tremendous. So these are the 2 dates.
How do you determine these dates? Are you doing a chart? How do you predict these things?
I use my software. I'm able to go a million years ahead or a million years in the back. It's the same type of software that I look to see you on that very specific day. A child will be born, and this child will have those energy which will make him very, very vulnerable to the reptilian manifestation and infestation. Any child born during those 2 dates will probably sudden up, unless they're being taught to apply the part of God in themselves, which is their will, through cosmic wisdom. Unless they have that opportunity, they're going to become killers, because they're going to be hijacked by the reptilians. It is that serious. I did a TV show with George Norrie explaining everything. Sudden enough, the producer of that show didn't like me for some reason. He thought I was an egocentric because I was so honest and so direct and so confident. So he never really had me. Instead, he has David Wilcock. He has all these people who have no cosmic consciousness. David Wilcock in 2012 was running on top of a mountain because he had predicted the end of the world. And he was going crazy on top of the mountain. And he said, oh, no, the end of the world is not physical, now it's spiritual. He reads all my material. He reads everything that I generate, and he's copying all my stuff. And he turned it again, like David Icke does, into reinventing himself. It's amazing what's going on out there. People are using other people's material. And the good news is that there is so much junk going out there that I let them for years promote their junk. And now I'm coming in with the truth and give people an option to get out of the box that they fell in by following imagination instead of reality.
Wow.
It's fun.
And where do I find these predictions on your site? I'm on your site right now. Where do I go to see those? Is there a certain place?
You click on Dr. Turi blog. You can read a little every day, or you can join my YouTube channel, because I make videos on YouTube every day. But if you really want to know what's going on with you, for $10 you can download your own personal forecast, which tell you pretty much what's ahead of you with that dragon. You know, I write books. Every one of my books was written for specific values of my work, different department of my work. The Power of the Dragon, 600 pages of the Dragon. It tells you why Hitler became Hitler and what he did to the world, why people made history, why famous or infamous people made history. So explain in this Dragon. You also have tables to allow you to see where your dragon natal is and how to use it. Mm-hmm. I have another one which is very critical, and that's probably the one you should get if you are interested, mostly because the head of the dragon is in your subconscious. It's called Behind the Secret. Beyond the Secret is a book that tells you, first of all, you won't be able to put it down. This is what Amazon says, because it teaches you all about the superconscious, not just the subconscious. It's a history of my life in great detail, and I take very, very solid example to teach you the power of the superconscious. I know all about you. This book is more for students who already took my home course, who watched my 16 cities, people that are already my students. And that means Who is Who in America, PhDs, NASA students, doctors, and the latest discovery in cancer, the mayor of city of Phoenix. You're talking about very, very advanced, spiritual, intelligent people. And then,
can you tell me? Can I ask you a question, Doctor?
Yeah,
please.
your turn. Yeah.
Okay, it's almost back. Hopefully for the Anomalous Club online, because I go with the ACO. But I wanted to real quick, Dr. Ken Johnston Sr. is going to help me tomorrow night on Friday with our club. And I wanted him to call in. I don't know if he's going to, but for just a minute to say hi to you and to say hi to Janet. Now, I wanted to ask you this Winter Hexacon After Dark. Now, I don't do a lot of work, lower work. I do higher levels. You know, we have a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, to 5 level in the universes, and we're separating beings that working. So I'm looking at Aldebaran, Betelgeuse, and Sirius, but I've noticed the star pattern that we use in the lower level, which we don't normally like to use, but it was used on the stars to for the Allied Command, and we're not Dracos. We're interestingly not Dracos, but I don't know how we're going to be able to discuss, you know, the beings that on Earth as Terrans from this isle or this planet Terra with other beings at the solar system level are. Would you say Aldebaran, Betelgeuse? You know, a lot of people, Aldebaran has been written about the different lower stars between Sirius, Rigel, Betelgeuse, and Aldebaran. And some people say that it's a lot of the archons, which are negative thoughts. Maybe. Yes. But I'm sort of getting lost between you separating. I've had the Elysians and the Elysians, Elysin, and Elysians with Alyn out of the ancients. But I don't understand. When I hear Draco, Draconian, and all that, see, I never met any of those. I only met the ones that were white, and some were big that looked like Chinese with dark skin, but they were giants. They were in huger they were in military, and then they were on board a ship. So what we need to do, Doctor, is get back together and compare our levels of existence, even if it's not, well, you know, 3D reality or something.
Okay. Oh, let me explain something. I'm looking at your UCI again. When I first talked to you, I told you that one of your biggest problem was to get into the detail and miss the entire pictures because the objectivity is not within the realm of Capricorn, which is your sun sign, or your tail of the dragon, which is Virgo, which is very, very much into detail. While these are perfect gifts for the rational world, does not necessarily apply when it comes to the spirits, okay, because it's the opposite. What I'm trying to tell you is that the archons, okay, for example, or the draconians, doesn't matter the name you give those entities. Draco sees them as the reptilians. As long as they are negative, they are reptilians. Doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter the groups, whatever you heard or whatever people wrote about it, whatever you have accepted as reality. Anything that is negative, doesn't matter the name, see it as the forces of darkness or the reptilians. Period. That will answer your questions. That will answer your questions. And if you see a different type of groups, like I heard of the tall blonde or the Nordics, these are more of the commandants, the representative of the higher order. These are the draconists because they are the light. So try to minimize the complexity of the detail that makes you miss the entire pictures, if I can be very honest with you, because I know you can handle it, okay? Your repertoire of wisdom is so vast. Now, if you don't use objectivity, your repertoire of wisdom is going to be going all over the place, okay? And you need to understand only there is two forces, positive and negative, the day or the night. Doesn't matter what name you use. What doesn't matter is you listen to your intuition. You have the head of the dragon in Pisces. So that little voice in you has never, ever lied and will never lie to you. You just have to learn to listen to it a little bit more instead of using too much critical thinking. Do I make sense? Okay. I'm talking to you like if you were a client of mine. I'm sorry, okay? But I know where you're coming from, and that's why I'm taking that opportunity to help you the best way I can. And I hope you're not mad at me for that.
No, my point of origin comes from a very high level. I would say at a 7 above all the universes. So when I drop down and even get close to the stratosphere, I never related to astrology or the stars. And so somebody like you that does, that's great. But I have to learn the nomenclature and the epistemology and the taxonomy of each person. And so basically I read waves, particles and waves. I do quantum mechanics first and then back it down like a macrocosm into a microcosm. I have trouble macro to micro. You apparently know micro to macro or vice versa.
As long as you understand, TJ, that your UCI is very much detail-oriented, okay, and you're not tabbing on your head, you're tabbing on your tail. So the progress, I have a big ass. No, I love it. No, what I'm trying to say is your tail is going to bring you into a confinement of deception and confusion, while the head, which is Pisces, which is more spiritual and metaphysically oriented and include astrology and the super-conscious, that's an area where the universe wants you to explore. That's it.
Well,
you got to follow the head.
I just don't know how, but I guess you've got all this extra stuff and software. You've got tools that I apparently need to learn how to speak. So communication is my mission in bringing people together into one enlightened group. But I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just going one day, 1 minute, and a now at a time. So any help is appreciated, Dr. Turi.
Let me explore a little bit more of your UCI. You were born in December, right? So your soul's purpose is to pass on the news, to reach foreigners, and to by Jupiter, you're supposed to do things in a big way in order to get lucky. And foreigners are your best teachers. I'm one of those. We mentioned that earlier. But you face the world on the opposite side of the belt of the zodiac, which means you face the world of the Gemini. And that's the talker, the communicator, the writer, the teacher, the one who is all over the place, the Trump type of energy. This is how you face the world, but without the negativity of Trump, of course. Understand what I'm saying?
Thank you. Thank you for
you are explaining.
I can see him as positive, though. I can see him as a positive leader. I always do. I like to see the best in everybody.
Exactly. A coin has two faces. There is a good Dr. Turi, the bad Dr. Turi, believe me. And he applies that law apply to everybody. All I'm trying to say is that I'm confirming the way you present yourself to the world as a Gemini, where you have to touch to everybody. The number 5 in numerology is 4, which is the base of a pyramid, and then in the middle you have a 5, okay? And that's you. You are able to talk to every corner of that pyramid, and that means talking to me, talking to Janet, talking to these people left and right, and Gemini rules the radio world and the world of communication. And this house is controlled by Mercury, which is in Greek mythology represented by the god who had wings on his heels, passing on information, and that is Janet.
Ah, interesting. So we work together well. I guess we'll work together well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hope we do.
Oh, we
can
do.
learn about each other.
I have the mood.
Into past lives, so we'll have to have you come back and do past lives.
We can do that, no problem. I just have to dwell on the tail of the dragon, and I can tell you what Draco's going to shout for you. Good or bad, you're going to hear it.
I love it.
Well, we'll have to have once a month, Janet, one with Anomalous Club, and we can discuss anomalies. But I really want, Dr. Turi apparently is very in-depth into our past souls, and I only got to talk to him a little bit about my Soth energy, but I know you like to do that as well. Here, Doctor, real quick, we're almost out of time, but say hi to Ken. Ken, is that you? Did you get on?
Yes, I'm on Fran's phone. I don't know why this new phone I have doesn't want to work. But good evening. How are you folks?
Good evening, Ken. Nice to talk to you, my friend. Real fast, could you give me your date of birth?
What you want? My what?
Phone number?
Date.
Your date of birth.
When were you born?
Okay. I'm sorry. I was born on October the 2nd, 1942, which makes me older than you.
My stepfather. Okay. I got October. I got October
42.
Okay, one at a time, please. October when?
October 2nd.
Okay.
1942, and he does Friday's show with me. I'm bringing him on as a co-host with Janet.
All right.
On 10-2. So he's going to help us.
Okay, let him.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
So
let him
okay.
talk. Go ahead.
His soul's purpose is Libra, which means he has to learn the laws of man, and that's why he's a walking library. He's a reader. He's a teacher. Okay, he's like a walking book of information. You never tell him to take a book. He likes to read. I can see that.
Oh, but it takes me forever to read. I read very slow because I'm also dyslexic.
Yeah, well, that's a gift. That's part of your load in this lifetime. As a Libra, you have to learn all the laws of man, which are created by man. That includes the Bible and science and anything that your five human senses can digest. The other side of the scale is astropsychology, astroforensic of the laws of the divine. That is your soul's purpose as a Libra, which indicate, of course, your natural sense of diplomacy and so forth. Your head of the dragon is exactly the opposite of the one of Janet. So Janet was born with the head in Pisces. You were born with the head in Virgo. So you have what you call, both of you, a mutual reception of your dragon. So there is an understanding when it comes to the details, to the organization, to the sense of purity. I can see that you're a good cook, or at least you like food. That's part of
yes, I do.
I can see that in your chart, yes. Your tail of the dragon is Pisces, which is your highly, highly spiritual. You have psychic abilities. You had a lot of past life as a priest, my friend. I could see that. Very, very deep. You were very much, very.
I have a doctorate in theology.
I can see that. Yeah.
Metaphysics.
Yeah.
And metaphysics.
Yeah. I can see that. Yes, you definitely coming from the low Pisces tail into the high Pisces head through the Virgin Mary, which is the sign of Virgo, your sense of detail, your ability to see everything, to organize everything. You also have past life in France and Italy, instantly, as you can see that. You always had a position of notoriety, though, like a king or something of this nature. You're lucky with the real estate. You're lucky with food. You're lucky with anything and everything that feed. In this lifetime, you're supposed to feed the world. Either you might have done it physically when you were younger, and now you move on into the other side and feeding the world on the spiritual matters. You're a very highly, highly spiritual soul. Very intuitive. You have artistical talent also. The dyslexia part comes from your sixth house, as your tail is in your house of health, which means you have a negative reaction to anything that's not natural.
I need that all written down. I need that all written down so I can study it.
As I said, you have to be objective. It's better. It's better to use your objectivity. This is going to be taped, so you can listen to it again, I believe. Are you afraid of water? Are you afraid of water or not?
No, I'm a scuba diver and done it all.
I see water around you, a lot of water for some reason. So what about your feet? Do you have any problem on your feet?
Well, only because I stepped on a rock today and I have a bruise on my heel. But
I see problem on your feet.
I age is 77. I've messed up my foot a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
I see a thing. When Draco starts to channel with me, it's becoming a little bit scary to some people. I just finished a pilot TV show. I'm walking the streets of Hollywood and the Beverly Hills, doing what I just did to you to people on TV. So some people were really shocked and blown away with what I could come out by just channeling Draco and talking to them about the stars and their UCI. So with the moon in Cancer, excuse me, you're a homey guy. You need to socialize a little bit more, participate a little bit more. Of course, you regenerate around water because you died in water.
Right.
You were drowned in your past life. It's a long story. I don't want to go too much into the detail in public, but you're definitely an extraordinarily old soul. You've been around. Your repertoire of spiritual wisdom is both physical and spiritual. It's both rational and highly spiritual. Again, that Libra soul's purpose depicts your opportunity to learn and teach the laws of man. That's all religious. It's all created by man, or the result of the reptilians. And the other side, which is the understanding in the face of God's cosmic divinity, which is well above what a human can write and talk or delegate with. And
I do my best.
Yeah, well, I see a move with you and a restructure of your career. It's all pretty good.
And a lot of it's coming to a head right now. I'm only 77, so I'm going to live to at least 180. So this gives me an opportunity to stay better focused.
You have a long life as long as you keep that exercise. You regenerate through your feet. So when your past lives are very much feminine. Doesn't take anything from your masculinity, but the cleaning, the cleansing, the intuition, the spirituality come from all your past life as a medicine woman. And during those days, you didn't have the shoes, so you need to connect with. You need to connect with Mother Earth through your feet all the time. That's how you regenerate. That's all I have for you, and I don't want to go deeper.
Well, there's a lot more there, but we'll be able to get together and we can share information, and I can give you some of the past experiences that might help you.
You bet. Your repertoire wisdom is as good as mine. It might be a different road, but all road leads to Rome, right?
Most of them.
Yeah. Every one of them, my work, they all go there.
Sorry I didn't get home in time to be on a little longer with you folks, but thank you for bringing me on, TJ.
I think we're out of time. I don't know if we're still broadcasting, but maybe we should wrap it up.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up.
Are you there?
We're out of time.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We're out of time.
We're out of time, folks. So, Dr. Turi, please make arrangements with me. I think you've got the 26th available. I believe is what we've said. So, folks, we'll have him back on Friday night with Ken.
Yeah, see me for the calendar so we don't double book, okay?
Okay.
For the calendar so we don't double book. I'm running the calendar, and
okay.
So just shoot me an email, and we'll get you back on again.
All right,
okay,
guys.
I'm going to sign off now. So.
How about Janet? Be sure and talk to Ken about tomorrow night. And Dr. Turi, you just call me anytime, but we will get with your calendar and get yours hooked up on Google. We have Google Calendar.
You got it. Thank you very much for having me on your show, ladies.
You were wonderful.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, my friend. We talk again. Good night, guys.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And Ken, call Janet and me tomorrow, please.
Okay.
Call Janet.
Tomorrow.
Call Janet and TJ about your show tomorrow, co-hosting with Janet, or at least Janet's booking tomorrow.
Yeah, I already have it planned. Do you want to get off of this show? So we're not having a private conversation on the air. Let's sign off and then call each other. I'll call you right now. Let's sign off and I'll call you. Okay?
If you need me, call. If you need me, call me
right now. I'm gonna call you right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll call you right now. Bye.
Bye.